I'm gonna jump right into this, man. Let me turn this car off. Jump right into this, Chad. If y'all don't know Chad has a YouTube page. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. It's called Blood on the Razor Wire. Chad was sentenced to 40 years on some, if I'm not mistaken, some crack cocaine charges. He did 17 years on a 40-year sentence, been through a bunch of different USPs. Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. And let me tell you something, man, about Chad. I'm his truest fan. Chad is super duper official. A lot of guys come on YouTube, and this is their biggest thing they say. This is the scapegoat. They say this is for the kids because that gives them a reason to talk about violence. Chad and Fred from Tales from the Pen are two channels I know for a fact are for the kids, man. And this is a whole fact, man. You got to read that book, Blood on the Razor Wire, man. Chad really cares about the people, man. Watch all his interviews. He is definitely my top 3 YouTubers. And he definitely cares about the kids and everything. This is a whole fact, man. And the reason why I wanted to interview Chad, because Chad has been on both sides. He has been through the USPs, and he has also been through the state prison system. And he's a white guy, man. You get what I'm saying? And everybody that interviews, that Chad interviews, for the most part, Chad never really had to speak on himself about the stuff he had did to survive in there. They speak on him. And he's always nonchalant about it. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? But it's about you right now, man. He does it like, yeah, Chad, you was a fighting ass. You know what I'm saying? So I interview a lot of people, man. It's real weird. And it's real to hear that a white boy is standing up for themselves, especially me create my page on Florida prisons, where it's like highly unlikely. So I say all that to say this. Introduce yourself, Chad.
Yeah, man, my name's Chad Marks. At the age of 24, I was sentenced to 40 years in federal prison for a crack cocaine conspiracy, along with 2 924C counts, 5 years for the first gun, 25 for the second. Donald Trump ended up passing the First Step Act. As a jailhouse lawyer, I wrote the first compassionate release motion to ever win after that was passed. It was for a Mexican dude named Conrado Cantu. Wrote my own motion, got myself out, and I probably got out over 100 men and women all over the country. And like you said, man, you know, I don't do YouTube to pay the bills. Like on my channel, we just did a giveaway where I tell people it's our channel, man. The money that we make, man, we're giving back to the people that need it. You know, single mothers, single fathers, people that are struggling and really trying to be real fathers, real leaders to their kids, man, real mothers, real leaders. So that's pretty much what I'm doing, man. I told dudes when I left prison that I would be the voice of the voiceless, and that's what I came out here and did. And like I said, brother, I don't live off YouTube, man. I got a paralegal and prison consultant firm. I started a home improvement company where we hire brothers getting out of prison, putting dudes to work, man, so they can do the things that they're supposed to do.
That's what's up, man. That's a good segue. And if you guys go to Chad page, you will see all his interviews and all the stuff that led up to prison. But for this interview right here, I want to go straight into the New York State Department of Corrections on your first bid when you went to New York State Department of Corrections at what age? 16. What crime led you to go there?
All right, so I was 16, man. I caught an assault second. Me and my co-defendant, but he's like my brother. He's a blood. He did a bunch of time in New York State. I went to prison for an assault second. I ended up getting a 2 to 6 at the age of 16. You know, back then I went to trial 2. There was a plea offer for probation, and I'm like, nah, I ain't doing that. And I went to trial. I lost, got a 2 to 6. Started out, man, you know, you go through Elmira reception. I ended up in Attica. Ended up, you know, in Comstock after Attica. Definitely some dangerous places, bro. Definitely not the place a 16-year-old kid should be, man. 16, 17 years old. I was in Wyoming. Me and my brother got into it with some kids over a basketball magazine. I got stabbed in the face. But we were in there working, man. Not that I'm trying to big myself up, but we were definitely...
No, hold on, Chad, not to cut you off. Let's speak on that, man. Let's back it up a little bit about the stab in the face. Let's go back. Let's speak on that. How did that happen? You woke up that day. You went to the court. Talk about that, man. We're not going to run through that part.
All right, so as far as getting stabbed, this is what happened. We're in Wyoming, right? And my brother loans this magazine to this kid. This is on Christmas Eve, 1996. Wyoming was a dangerous prison, man. It's right across the street from Attica. Back then, you could go to commissary. You had to have a wheelbarrow. There was dudes in there with towels on their face, green hats, green jacket. They're doing armed robberies back then. A kid from my neighborhood that I grew up with, Myron Lumpkin, they called him Face. He had robbed the dude for his commissary, and they killed the dude, man, over $100 in commissary. So anyway, on that particular day, my brother had loaned his magazine to dude, and dude was like, yo, you're dead on that. And for real, man, my brother's a gangster, homie. Like, he's much different than me. You know what I mean? Like, he's wild. I'm more money-oriented back then, even back then, you know, and he was just like, yo, it's whatever, man. So he goes in the shower, he starts fighting with the kid. And really, my brother was getting the best of him, but he slipped. So, of course, when he slipped, I grabbed the kid here, you know, let my brother get up, and it is what it is. Then he really, my brother whooped him, man. Dropped him like 3 times. And they're like, oh, he jumped me. They jumped me, but we ain't jump him. So he went and got his homeboys, and they jumped us, but they were stabbing us. And they stabbed me with a piece of fan. You know them big metal fans? Back then, they used to break little pieces.
Yes.
It'd be like a nail. They'd bend the end, put a piece of sheet on it, put a lanyard on it, put it on your wrist. They hit me in the eye. They hit my brother like 10 times in the face. And
you serious?
Yeah. But
was this a gang?
It was some dudes from my city, man. Like, it was just some dudes, man, that thought that they could just do whatever they want. And not on no racial shit, but because we were white, they thought they were going to dead my brother. And like I said, man, my brother's real close with one of the founders of the Double 9 Gs, man, in New York, man, YB. I had him on, did a little phone interview with YB before. Well known, YB the executioner. And, you know, we got busy, man. Got stabbed a couple times, but we were all right. We made it out. I ended up going to Attica, and he ended up going to Coxsackie after that.
Okay, so you go to Attica. So how old was you when you went to Attica?
I was 17. I think I was 17.
How was it, man, being a 17-year-old white boy from upstate New York in Attica State Prison?
You know, where I live at, I'm about an hour away from there, right? So that's like the country of where I'm from. I live in the city, but that's the country part. Walking in there, you know, I'd always heard about the Attica riots and, you know, all that type of, I guess my mother's cousin got killed there during the Attica riots and all that stuff. So walking in there, I ain't gonna lie to you, man, I was a little nervous, right? I was scared, for real. Anyone that says they ain't, I don't care who you are, how old you are, you're walking in Attica, you're definitely like, oh shit. And I was always a big kid, but I was still a little nervous walking in there. And as soon as we get in there, the cops, man, are like, yo, I don't give a fuck what color you are. I mean, they're using the N-word. They're like, we run this prison. Like, they're laying the intimidation game down. Back then, it was Christmas Eve, 1996. I came back from the hospital, and they took me right over to Attica. So they're pretty much laying that intimidation game down over there. They're like, yo, this is what it is. And I'll never forget, man, the lieutenant saying, we will shoot your ass from that tower. I will blow your brains out if you fuck around in this prison. This is my prison. And he was calling, you know, he was probably trying to make it look good, saying white racial names, but he was definitely blasting people with the N-word. And he was like, I don't give a fuck. This is my spot. And when you go in there back then, I don't know if they fixed it, but you can see the bullet holes, man. In some of the spots. I was in the snake pit. Back then, I think it was, what was that, B Block 19 company, maybe? I don't remember. I remember it was the snake pit, man. That was the keep lock pit. I ended up getting, I think, 6 months keep lock back then over that shit that happened. You know, as soon as my keep lock was up, like I had like 3 days left, that's when they transferred me to Comstock, Great Meadow Correctional Facility. And that was a gladiator school back then. So I never really made it to population in Attica. I was allowed to go out to rec. I had to go shower. The showers were messed up back then. You only got to shower, bro, on Mondays and Thursdays. The rest of the week, you put your bucket on the door, they pour hot water in your bucket, and you wash up with your bucket. And then I ended up going to Comstock, which was definitely a dangerous place, man. Comstock
and that's a good segue before Comstock real quick. So when you was in Attica, was you in a cell house? Single cell, single man cell, 2-man cell? What was your living situation?
I was in a single man cell back then. They started them double man cells in the maximum security prisons. I want to say in 1997, they started telling people, look, if you'll double bunk, we'll give you a free TV. They'll give you a free lamp. They give you $25 in commissary for you, $25 in commissary for your cellie. But man, I wasn't trying to sell with no one, man. I'm just trying to be in my own cell. I didn't need no TV. I didn't need none of that shit. I was all right. My people looked out for me.
And that's what I'm saying. My question to you, so when you in your own cell at Attica, what's going on in the cell house? Is it a bunch of yelling going on through the day? what's going? Are dudes talking across the cell? What is the atmosphere like when you behind the bar in the cell? What is everybody doing?
There was a big respect thing back then, man. People were respectful back then, right? So in Attica, people would be yelling, talking, whatever. But when that quiet bell went off, I think it was at 10 o'clock I don't remember the quiet bell, what time it was, maybe 11 o'clock at night in the state. It's many years ago, right? When that bell went off, man, people were quiet, man. People were respectful. I ended up, I know we're still talking about Attica, but I ended up in Comstock, and my neighbor was Herman Bell, Black Panther Party. Brother did like 30-something years, recently got paroled a couple years ago. And he used to, the only thing, sometimes he used to play this like a flute or a recorder at night. And I used to be like, damn, man, this dude's playing this shit, man, after the quiet bell. You know what I'm saying? But everybody respected it. Everybody respected
Got you. So so you leave Attica. What's going on at Comstock? What are you, still 16? You 17?
I'm 17 at that time. 17.
And what's going on in Great Meadow at the time you get there, Chad? What's popping? Let's speak about the first day you got there. What's going on with the guards? How was the introduction when you got there?
Same type of introduction. I remember they had a wolf painted on the wall, and they used to tell you as soon as you get in there, man, put your fucking hands on the wall. Look in that wolf's eyes. And you're looking in the wolf's eyes. You put your hands on his paws, and you're looking in his eyes, and they're patting you down. They're letting you know that they mean business. They weren't as nasty as Attica, but they could get nasty. And of course, man, up there, man, super racist. There were two cops. Anybody that's watching your show right now that been to New York State Prison in Comstock, these two cops, man, Herbert and German, vicious, man. They would kill you. They said German killed a bunch of people, man. They would beat the shit out of you, put knives in your cell. They got busy, man. And in New York State, they got them sticks. They got these oak sticks, and they'll hit you with them sticks, man. They got them on these like rubber bands where they can throw that stick, man. They play with the stick all day long, swinging it around like they're nunchucks. And it would definitely put that wood on you, man.
Oh.
But
okay, let me ask you this. You being white, you from upstate, did the guards, being that I heard that a lot of the guards are rednecks, did they have a respect for you, being that you held your own?
Well, this is the thing, right? A lot of cops up there, they're nasty. But like you said, they were rednecks. So this is different, man. New York State Prison is different than like federal prison and shit like that. In New York State Prison, I would just pretty much, man, stay away. People stay away from the cops. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't up there talking to the cop one-on-one, shit like that. The only time you see shit like that is when dudes that worked in the mess hall, man. And it always seemed this way. When you're in New York State Prison, you work in the mess hall, like the dudes would be playing with the cops and, shit like that. They're there all day, 10, 11, 12 hours. That was the way to stay out of your cell. And being a young man, it killed me being in the cell. I did work in the kitchen, but I still stayed out of the way. But let me tell you something. They had a cop over there named Isom, black dude. I think he was from Georgia or Florida, old country, old big brolic country black dude, but old school, man. And he would fight you, man. What's up? You got a problem? We're going in the law. We're going in the dish room. He'd take his walkie-talkie off and get busy. That's what it is. He would get busy. Win, lose, or draw. Some dudes whooped him. He whooped some dudes. So that's how it was. There was another dude that worked there. I hope these dudes are watching this video, man. Dude named Parker. He was like telling on the other cops, right? And he was the cop. And I seen the police jump on him. I seen two cops fighting in there. They all hated the dude. But really, man, in New York State Prison, yeah, they are a little more, with certain white dudes, man, they were a little more lenient, a little more like, you know what I'm saying? And I did a lot of fighting in prison, homie, back then. Like I was a young, wild dude, man. And for real, man, you can't win them all, but I did pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So they respected me. I didn't have no problem, man, punching someone in the face back then.
Well, with that being said, how long did it take for trouble to find you in Comstock?
Man, the first fight I had, man, I used to play basketball in what we called the hole, right? There was a basketball court in the back where all the bums played basketball at pretty much. I was one of the bums, right? I played basketball all day. Couldn't play worth the shit. And I had gotten a beef on the basketball court where this kid, man, kept trying to elbow me, man. He elbowed me in the eye. As soon as he elbowed me in the eye, man, I just hit him, man. Boom, 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 boom. But let me explain this to you. Much different than federal prison. Back then, it was like if you had a problem, man, with a dude, it didn't matter what color you were. You were just working. That's it. And really, where I'm from Rochester, right? So when you're in state prison, man, we were like a gang, homie. When you're from Rochester, we stick together. Puerto Rican, black, white, We were just together back then. That's it. So I had some, some of the homies with me too, man. Kids I grew up with, man. Kid named Sean Glover. He had 37 to life. I think he ended up getting out on an appeal after like 16 years. Kid named Evil, Dope D. Just a lot of dudes, man, from my city where we were like, and all these kids were young kids that had 25 to life. And they knew me from the county jail. Some knew me from the street. I get busy. So it was a respect thing. But if something happened to one of the black dudes, I would help them too. If they're from my city, we were a gang. And we were a tough gang. For real. Wasn't no racial shit. So if I'm working with a black dude, it's all right. 10 black dudes ain't coming to jump me. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
Wasn't like that.
Okay, well, did it ever get to a point when you was in a state prison that you had to walk around with a knife or something? Or was there more fighting back then? Like, talk to me.
Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. No, I never had to have a knife. I had a razor blade, but I didn't ever keep it on me. I used to have it taped underneath the door. If I ever needed it, I could get to it. But I never really had to carry a razor blade, man. Never, or a knife. See, in New York State prison back then, there was a couple people might get stabbed, but back then it was, razors, man. Dudes spit a razor out of their mouth, cut you. I've seen people cut with glass. I mean, back then you had cans, right? Tuna fish cans. You open up a tuna fish can and just bend it over and cut. So you always had a weapon close by, man. A can of Jack Mac would definitely do some damage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Chad. Do you feel like you being a white boy, do you feel like you went through more in upstate New York prison than a regular, the average black person? Did you have to prove yourself more?
Listen, let me tell you this, right? Back then, the problems that I really had were with other white dudes, man. Like, it was my own people that I would fight. But I had this old white dude, and my brother will probably watch this video. This dude was probably like 45, right? And he used to act like he was like our dad and shit, like trying to tell us we were kids, like telling us what to do. This is when I was before Attica. And dude was just like talking to us like we were little kids and shit. I'm like, yo, man, what the fuck is your problem? And he threw a hot soup on me. And for real, man, my brother probably watched this and laughed because we're co-defendants. We're in the same unit. And I beat the shit out of this dude, man. He's an old white dude, man. I just beat the fuck out of him, man. And yeah, it's pretty much what the problems were. It isn't a place where men were, even back then, men respected men. It was a big respecting in New York State prison back then. So much different than federal prison. So it wasn't a place where you had to walk in and be like, yo, man, I'm the baddest dude over here. Man, dudes just recognized, and I was with my brother, man. So it's both of us, you know what I'm saying? And we knew people from our neighborhood, man. And we're from upstate New York. We're in prisons in upstate New York. So you can only imagine. Like I told you, we're like a gang, man. We're from Rochester, man.
Okay, you said men respect men back then in upstate New York prisons. Well, did that apply with the guards also? If you respect the guards, do they respect you, or will they fuck with you no matter what?
You had guards.
What's the temperature of the guards
back then? You had guards, man, that would just be nasty, just disrespectful. Honestly, man, there was a lieutenant, man, when I was in Gowanda. I went there when it first opened. There was only like 200 prisoners in there. Man, me and a couple of my cellies were fucking with the CO outside, like making fun of them. Shit, shit that kids do, right? Not realizing, man, I'm in prison. I'm in a man's prison. And the CO, really my cellie was like making fun of the dude and shit, like the way he talked. I'll never forget him. His name was Wargula. Making fun of him and shit. So they came up there and they got us, took us downstairs, handcuffed us behind our back. Remember, man, I think I'm 16 at that time, or just turned 17 when I was there. And man, a cop punched me in the face, man. It killed me, man. Killed my pride, man. He handcuffed me behind my back and he punched me in the face, and I never forgot him, man. And I'll never forget him, Sergeant Kalicki. And in my mind, man, I always thought like, man, I'm gonna do something to this dude, man, because I don't never want no one to put their hands on me. You know what I mean? The only people who can put their hands on me is my mother and my grandmother.
Right.
I don't care if it's the warden. If you slap me, I'm slapping you back. If I don't hit women, but like if my wife hits me, I might have to she don't hit me, but if she did, I'd probably just grab her. But those are the only people that can hit me, man. I don't care who you are. Don't put your hands on me, man. And the dude crushed my pride.
Well, let's speak about with the cellmate. So being that your cellmate was talking, you had to go down with him. So you couldn't be like, man, I had nothing to do with that. You couldn't say that. Explain. Yeah,
this isn't a maximum security prison. This was like a medium, right? So they had these dorm rooms, but there were bedrooms for real. It was like old mental hospital. So they had 4 of us in there, right? And they took us all down there and they hit us all. And now in hindsight, all 4 of us got hit. we had this one kid, man, and now in hindsight, now I'm older. Back then I didn't know what a chomo was and didn't realize that there were child molesters around us. We had one celly that now I could say, yeah, dude was probably a chomo, right? Fat dude. I think he was from Albany. When he came back, remember when you were little and your mom would hit you, and you might be like, he came up there, man.
Yeah.
He was crying like that. So you know what it did? It just made it like better for me. Because when he was crying, my brother came in there and was like making fun of him, like laughing about this shit. And we were just rolling like, damn. I'm like, damn, the police punched me, man. But this dude is like, it reminded me of when my mom would spank me, and this dude's in there like dry heaving, crying. Like, and I'm like,
yeah.
I couldn't believe that this grown-ass man was crying like that. I was like, and then my brother was just clowning him. So, we were just laughing, man. We laughed it off. But all my life, man, I never forgot them dudes, man, and never forgot that I got punched in the face by a cop while I was handcuffed. They killed my pride, even at 17, man. To this day, it bothers me.
So was there a lot of that going on? Was everybody getting punched in the face on a daily basis?
Man, the cops would definitely, man, put their hands on you, man. They didn't have no shame in their game. They were like a gang, man. They'd hit you with them sticks. There were dudes that would push back, but back then I was young, man. Like, damn, man, this dude slapped me, but I only got a 2 to 6, man. I want to get out of jail. And I used to think in my head, like, I'm gonna do something to that dude someday, man. And like I said, I never forgot his name. But there were incidents when I was in Comstock where the Muslims got it in with the cops. They told me, yo, man, don't come in this masjid right here, man. Don't come in our area. And man, the police came in there, man, and at lunchtime, it was either lunch, I'm pretty sure it was lunchtime, they set it off on the cops. They're like,
for real?
Got busy, man. They got busy. To me, man, the Muslims were the toughest dudes in New York State prison back then. And then eventually the Bloods came in, and that's when the shit got serious.
So, okay, so when you was in your bid at New York State prison, was there gangs then like that? A lot of gangs?
Back then,
what
man.
Gangs was present when you was there?
Back then, really, man, it was a lot of Spanish gangs like the Nietas, the Latin Kings. And then the Bloods came. You meet a couple dudes, but then, man, it was just like, bang. When I got to Comstock, it was like, they would do their roll call like every 30 days. I don't know if you know what that is, but they'd start screaming, roll call, roll call. Then you hear them. One dude would do that, the shot caller, right? And then you hear the rest of them, 5 alive. And then they'd be screaming, man. That's when they would yell after that quiet bell. But they would just do that for like 5 minutes, and then everybody would be respectful. But they were just letting their presence be known. But yeah, the Bloods pretty much took over, bro, for real, straight up. At least in the places that I've been. It's changed now, but I'm talking about 1997, 98, 99. I had, one of the big homies was from my city, dude named Baldy, was serving 25 to life. I remember one time he told me, yo, sent me a kite. I was key blocked for like 90 days over a fight on the basketball court. He was like, yo, look, man, don't come out to rec today. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm going to rec. He used to treat me like, man, I was like his little dude. You know what I mean? Like his cousin or something.
Right.
He's like, don't come to. I'm like, man, I'm going to rec, man. I got to get out of the cell. He said, man, I'm telling you, don't come to rec. So for real, I didn't go to rec. And they went out there, man, and they just brutalized these dudes, man. They brutalized these. Man, it was the Bloods against the Nietas in the rec cage. And they got busy, man. They brutalized them dudes, man.
Damn.
Definitely see some problems here, homie. But I know we're talking about New York State prison. I'm going to keep it real with you. The things I seen in New York State prison couldn't hold a match to what I seen in the feds, bro. Couldn't hold a match to it.
Real. So let me ask you this. So when you went to the feds, was you thinking that it was club fed, or you already knew what was going on?
No, I already knew, man. I was sentenced to 40 years. I'm walking into federal prison. Pre-trial, I'd heard about all the Lewisburg stuff. I had my family send me some stuff. And I'm like, all right, I'm definitely not going to a nice place. But I'm praying, and just like everyone else is going to federal prison probably, I'm praying I'm going to a FCI. And I'm like, damn, man, I'm going to a FCI. And for real, I was designated to Otisville, man. And I ended up getting into some shit in MDC Brooklyn right away. I beat this kid up on the handball court. And really, man.
Hold on, let's back it up. Why'd you beat him up on the handball court?
All right, so the kid's from Vermont, right? And his name was Jason. Maybe he's watching. Maybe he'll come on the show too. So this dude's like punking these dudes on the handball court. Like he's got these dudes scared, right? And it's making me angry every day. And then I ended up playing handball against this kid, man. I'm on a team with this kid, Angelo Ruggiero, right? His father was a mob dude in New York. So the dude's talking shit, and I'm like, hey, man. And now this kid's known for just taking off on people, right? So we start beefing. He gets close to me. So I move back, and he swings at me, and he misses. Boom, I catch him. They say, hey, man, go to the cell. You're going to get the rec closed down. So for real, man, we go to the cell, and, man, like you said in the beginning, I don't want to be like bigging myself up, bro. But for real, man, I was just so angry inside. I just demolished this kid. Like, I was kicking his head into the pole, blood everywhere. Right. And I'm just like, man, I don't give a fuck. I got 40 years. I'm going to. And then when I'm hitting him, I'm like, I remember it, man. Like, yo, you like this? Boom, boom, I'm hitting him. And then eventually you ain't going to believe this shit. They redesignate me to Big Sandy, right? Guess who else is on the bus with me to Big Sandy? He gets redesignated too. We don't even get rode up. That kid's on the bus with me, man. So we're going to Big Sandy, but when we get we were in the hole for like 20-something days. We end up on the bus to Big Sandy. We get to Big Sandy, but I'm from New York, and when we get there, the Boston, New York car has a yard. One of the homeboys from the Bronx. I'll talk about him, Adam Oliveri. He had stabbed a cop in Big Sandy when we were cellies. But when we get there, they're the shot callers, right? This kid's from Vermont, but he was quick to fight. He had a little fight game with him. So when we get there, he realizes, man, that he's what we would call back then a lame, right? And these dudes respect me as soon as I get there, man. 40-year sentence. This kid's got like 6-7 years. And really, he's a dope fiend, man. He's doing drugs, heroin. So right away, they're like, this is our dude. He recognized that. He's like, yo, man, I don't want no problems. And he ends up in the car too, like the East Coast car, because he's from Vermont. So it's kind of like, yo, look, man, you know what time it is. Like, you got a problem? And he didn't want no issues, man. He didn't last that long there anyway.
Right. Man.
But he definitely knew that it was, and I had already did what I had to do. So I was just like, I'm a lot bigger than this. I'm kind of a big kid, man. You know what I mean? So it was over. But definitely, man, the feds, definitely a dangerous place, bro.
But you say he didn't last that long there anyway. So what happened with him?
I think he ended up getting jammed up over a drug debt. And I think he checked in. He did check in. I don't know why I'm saying think. He checked in. That's it. He couldn't pay his drug debt. He was scared of the homies, and he got the fuck out of there, man.
Okay, so when you got to your first USP, man, did you have to join? Did you have to go with the Woods? How did that work? Did they come up to you and say, "Hey, man, what do you call yourself?"
100%. Your picture went off. 100%. As soon as you get there, man, they press you, right? Like right away. Like, yo, what's up, man? Who you run with, man? Where you from? 1,000 questions. I talk about that in my book. And I'm just like, I already know what the story is. I'm not going to lie to you, bro. I'm white. And I know what system I'm walking. I already heard, look, this is how it is. And let me tell you something about federal prison back then. Even white dudes that get in black cars and stuff like that, there's plenty of black dudes that are like, you know what I mean? Like, what's he doing in the car? So immediately I'm like, yeah, I'm white, man. I'm running with the white dudes. I got a 40-year sentence. This is what it is. And that's what it is, man. It's just, that's prison. That's federal prison. It is a racially segregated, it was back then, a racially segregated place. Like I said, we had a black broom, a white mop bucket, black mop bucket, Sereno mop bucket. And that's what you use, man. You don't use the black mop bucket. You don't do none of that shit back then.
Okay. And I hear that, and I hear people talk about politics all the time. So if you in the white car with the white, you can't do business with the blacks, or do they overlook that part of the politics?
Well, let me tell you something, man. Unfortunately, I'm not hating on my people, but a lot of white people are junkies in there, man. So what do you think? Of course they do business with blacks. The Mexican mafia, Serenos, I've been around them dudes where, no, they don't. We got these rules where they tell you like, man, don't do business with the blacks, right? But yet people are still doing business with the blacks. I mean, back then we weren't allowed to buy food from them. We couldn't buy food from blacks. Like if you cooked a cheeseburger, I couldn't buy it from you. But if you had a store and you were selling sodas, I could buy a soda because it's closed. You know what I mean? But there's people in there that do bad shit, homie. You know, white dudes, black dudes, Spanish dudes. There's some dirty people in prison. I don't eat food from people anyway. Like if you made food and made a pizza, and I usually won't eat nothing that people make. Dude, I was in the prison. I was in the prison in Lee County where the dude poured 2 gallons of bleach in the Kool-Aid, man. And they found out before they sold
Damn,
it to the
man.
people. Like, yeah, like that. I don't drink Kool-Aid. I don't drink off their cups. I don't eat off their silverware, man. I bring my own shit. You know, I bring a bottle of water with me when
Got
I'm
you.
alcohol. I mean, there's some dirty dudes in there, homie. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
Yeah, got you.
Just different, man. That's all.
So when you got the USP Big Sandy, what was the first thing you seen, and what was the first incident you got into and you was like, damn, man, this shit is really real here, man?
As soon as I get to Big Sandy, I'm coming down the hallway with my mattress, and they're running a dude out. You hear it. They're like, get on the wall, get on the wall. And you hear it on the walkie-talkie that they're yelling about weapons, right? I wasn't in the hallway 5 minutes, brother, walking to the unit. I see the white dude come by. He's on a stretcher, all beat up. And then I seen a couple other white dudes coming who I eventually got cool with, an Irish kid from Boston. And he just kind of gave me that nod, like, and I give him the nod back, like, man, I know, like, this is it, bro. This is it.
Oh, for real?
Your life, homie. This is it. Yeah. And then eventually I found out what happened, that this white dude was trying to press another white dude on some sexual shit, right? Trying to really get the dude to do some oral sex shit to him. So that's why they punished the dude, man. Dude was from Tennessee. And, you know, the East Coast dudes, like, just destroyed the dude. He left on a stretcher. And then I think it was that day, man, right in my unit, one of the New York dudes, one of the homies from New York, slapped the CO. And the CO was like, what'd I do?
Damn.
And all the New York dudes surrounded him. And the dude that had the car over
Are
there.
you serious?
Yeah, one of the
CO said, what did I do?
Yeah, but the New York dude circled him, and I'm like, oh, shit. Because in New York, if you slap the cop, they're going to try to kill you. I'm not used to this type of prison. You know what I mean? And he slapped the cop, and the cop didn't do shit. He hit the deuces. They came and took dude out. But I was like, wow, I'm really in the danger zone, homie. Danger. All the stories I heard, man. Yeah.
So that's what I want to ask. So okay, so after that, you go up to your unit and everything. You in the cell house, right? No dormitory.
No, cell house.
So how long before your first trouble came, your first fight came?
In Big Sandy?
How long was you there?
I probably wasn't there maybe a month and a half, man. Maybe a month and a half. I ended up hitting this DWB kid, a kid that ran with the DWBs. He really wasn't a dirty white boy gang member. I had hit him out on the handball court over some shit. He went and told dude something about some cleats that my homeboy loaned me. Like, he made up some shit. I'm like, bro, you're out here making up shit for, like, what reason? And he's just like,
right.
Oh man, one of my homeboys like, yo, you got to confront this dude. So I did, and as soon as he started talking, I was just like, we're in Big Sandy, man. I might as well set an example. You know what I mean? And I just tagged him.
Right.
Boop, boop, and he fell down the handball wall. And then
oh, for real?
Yeah, he fell down the handball wall. It was over with that quick. But hey, I get my ass whooped too, though, man. I've been lucky a few times. You know what I'm saying? And then we had a dude on the baseball field that was in our car. His name was Luke. He was from Minnesota. He started inviting people, man. He got upset, man, over a play, and started inviting people to his private parts. And this could have been a racial thing, man. So I tagged him too. And then my next incident was,
oh, for real? Okay.
I definitely tagged him to stop it from progressing. So, because you can't be telling Mexicans.
So why? That's what I'm saying. Tell the viewers, why did you tag him for, though?
Well, he invited people to his private parts, man. Black dudes, because he was mad just talking shit to people. So by doing that, immediately these dudes would be like, yo, man, what's up? You got to kill him, or else we're going to kill him, and we're going to get at all the white dudes too. So before that could even progress, I just did it, man. I just did what I had to do, man. But that was just to kill the situation. And then my homeboy, like I told you, Adam Oliveri, man, he was definitely a crazy dude, stabbed the cop. He was like, man, we had an incident one time with this dude like this before. He's like, I'm going to let him come back. I'm going to throw him over the tier. And I'm like, what the fuck? He was going to throw him over the tier. Now, remember, this is the dude that stabbed the cop like 11 times. So you think he gives a shit about some little skinny white kid from Minnesota? He looked at him like a lame. And they ended up talking Adam out of it because if Adam would have thrown him over the tier, he'd have been out of there. He'd have probably killed him and we'd have never seen him. And they really wanted Adam around. Adam was a good dude. So They just ended up sending a couple other dudes, not even me, to they just hit him, got him out of there. So, and that's how it works in federal prison. You violate, you do something wrong, man, they're going to get you out of there, man. That's it. They didn't stab him, they just beat him up kind of bad.
Have you ever been in a USP, man? As we close, I got 2 more questions. Have you ever been in a USP, man, where guys was going knife to knife in a cell?
I've been in a USP where I've seen people go knife to knife, right? I had put that raw footage out. I don't know if you've seen it on my channel the other day where dude killed 2 people die in 5 minutes, man, in USP Polo. So as far as a knife fight, I never seen it actually in the cell, right? But I seen dudes knife fight in the unit, and I seen dudes knife fight outside on the yard, man. Some Baltimore dudes when I was in USP League, and dude, man, was getting busy, and I kind of felt bad for the dude, man, because he was, getting it in with this bigger dude, and the bigger dude was getting him, man. He dropped him and then stabbed him. He got up. He tried to fight some more, stabbed him some more times.
What?
That was one time, man. I talk about people being desensitized, but that was one time where, man, I kind of felt like my feelings were hurt, man. It was a black dude from Maryland, man, from Baltimore. I just felt bad for the dude, man. He was in my unit, really good dude. Something happened where they disrespected him, and he had to do what he had to do, and it didn't work out for him. I thought the dude was going to die, man. He got hit a lot of times. He didn't die, but I thought he was going to.
Damn. Well, so in the USPs, is fighting unheard of? Fist fighting, is that unheard of, man?
Man, you hear that stuff, right? But nah, man, dudes fighting the USP, man. Usually, if you're beefing with your own people, you'll fist fight with him in a cell or shit like that. You don't usually see no black dude fist fighting no white dude, or no Spanish dude, Mexican dude fighting a black dude. That you ain't gonna see that type of shit. I mean, it's balls to the wall when it's that type of situation. You ain't never gonna see. I seen a dude from Florida, man, in my unit with this Jamaican kid, right? They were beefing over the poker table. The Jamaican kid, man, had some homies from New York, but caught his case in DC. His co-defendant was in the unit with him, and they're beefing. And for real, man, the little skinny black kid got up and just tagged this dude, man, with dreads out of Florida, big dude, just tagged his ass. But the black dude, man, had in his dreads, he pulled a knife out of his hair. I was like, what? To hide the knife in his dreads, man, in his hair. And he's chasing the dude. Dude's trying to hit him with the chair. He falls down. And for real, this shit was like a movie, bro. The dude pulls out the knife like he's going to hit him. And his co-defendant lived in the cell next to me, little DC dude. One of the most nicest, quietest dudes you'll ever meet. He was from DC. Man, he came out of nowhere. It was like he slid on the floor. And in federal prison, in the vents, the vents are concrete. I don't even know how the hell he got this, right? But in there, they got these little metal things that sometimes you can take a pencil and move them. He had a piece of that, man, sharpened like a butcher knife. It was like he slid across the floor. Right when dude was going to hit his co-defendant, he hit him like a machine gun, bro, like on his knees, like, bam, 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 bam. He slid on the floor like on his knees. And guess what? He got away, man. They didn't even know it was him for like 3 or 4 days. They watched the camera. They came and took someone else to the hole for that. That was one of the most vicious stabbings I've seen, man, in a federal prison. It was in USP Lee, Jonesboro, Virginia.
Okay, so speaking of the stabbings you've seen in the U.S. penitentiary's federal prison, have you ever been stabbed in federal prison?
I've been stabbed in federal prison, man. I got stabbed in the back. I got hit with an ice pick. I'm sure there's plenty of people that watch your show. I got hit in USP Lee over $45, man. Dude owed me $45. Dude was serving a life sentence, little Chinese dude. They call him Chinese Eddie. He had hit me in the back. He hit me with an ice pick. And when he hit me, for real, he ran. And he started running. I see one of my right-hand man, dude from my neighborhood was there. I'm like, yo, grab him. He started chasing him. I reached and touched my back, and there was blood. And I was like, yo, he stabbed me, grab him. And my homeboy stopped chasing him, and I flew down there to catch him, man. And he was running like zigzag, right? And he slipped and it was raining. He slipped in the mud, and he fell down. I took the knife from him, bro. I could have killed him, but I didn't. I just pounded his head in. But yeah, man, I've been stabbed, man, and it's not a good feeling. Okay. Definitely not. Especially you get hit with that ice pick when your adrenaline stops. That's when you feel it, man. Your muscles tighten up, your body tightens up. You're like, damn, man, it hurts.
Damn, man. So what happened after that? Was you guys able to coexist around each other, or did somebody get transferred?
No, we went to the hole. They referred it to the FBI. They refer shit like that to the FBI, man. And they actually found me guilty of a serious assault. I actually got a shot for that shit, man. Dude stabbed me, and I got a shot. They said because he ran away, and I was safe, and I chased after him. I was already safe, they said. So yeah, they wrote me up. I did like 100 days down there. Believe it or not, man, a bunch of the New York dudes, man, went to the warden and got me out. Black New York dudes got me out of the hole back then. So I came out. Dude got transferred.
Wow.
If he would have got out, I got a homeboy, man, that was serving like 100 years. He was like, if dude comes out, I'm killing him. You know, I got a couple kites like, yo, we're killing this dude. And I'm like, damn, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not definitely not gonna kill no one, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't faking. I ain't trying to kill no one unless I have to. Really, I wouldn't have to kill him. I just definitely, we wouldn't have coexisted. Let's just put it that way. But
what car was the Asian dude with? Was he with the Asian car or the state car? Whatever state he was from. Was he?
He was a real weird dude, man. And he had a problem smoking cigarettes. So I would sell him stamps. And he owed everybody on the compound money and decided he was going to stab me. But really, he ran with the Asians, but it was kind of like, people were like, who does Eddie run with? You know what I mean? Like, who does Eddie run with? No one really knew. It was like a weird situation.
Yeah, funny.
It was a weird situation, man.
Right.
But I got stabbed in there. But
so
I made it here.
When you got hit in the back, when he hit you in the back, was that when you knew it was real, or you knew it was real before that happened?
No,
like, what'd you think? Like, did you underestimate him? That's what I want to know.
Well, a week before that, right? On my birthday.
You didn't have no signal? You didn't have no signal he was going to get you? Like, none of that?
Nah, for real, man, I slipped up, right? I violated the code. Because a week before that, he was talking shit and I hit him and he fell down. I dropped him. He shit his pants. And
for real?
Dudes, yeah, one of the New York dudes was like, you got knocked the fuck out. Like off that Friday movie. And he was in his feelings. So we went to the lieutenant's office. The lieutenant let us go. He said, since it's your birthday, I'm going to let you go. This shit's over with, right? And we're like, yeah, it's over with. He said, if it's not, you guys start walking down the walkway and start swinging. I'm going to come out there and stomp your head into the concrete. The cop told us that. So I'm like, yeah, all right, man. We leave. Everything's good. A week later, he stabbed me when I was walking up the steps. But I slipped up. I violated the code. When I hit him, he should have never stayed. We should have went to the hole. He should have got transferred, or I should have got transferred. And I was committed to never, ever again doing that. If we got an issue, man, one of us is leaving.
Right.
Self-preservation. You got to make sure you live.
Damn,
right?
Man. Hey, listen, man, it's an easy one. Easy win, Florida prison talk, man. We definitely have to get another interview, man. No, I got a couple more questions. So after that happened, tell a story real quick before we end this one. What happened with you and didn't you get into it with a DC dude?
Why? What made you say that?
Did you hear me, Chad?
Yeah. What makes you say that?
No, I thought it was another stab or something.
No,
I just thought about it from another interview we did, and like I said,
no, I didn't get stabbed by no DC dude, but I had an incident before with a DC dude in Raybrook, and I think
that's what I think
in one of my interviews.
Talk about it.
I think in one of my interviews, Reggie said something. That's why I thought maybe you watched a little bit of that interview. No, I had a little issue with this little dude from DC, man, and he swung on me. I swung on him, and they acted like they were going to jump me for a minute, and then the New York dudes were like, "Nah, that ain't going to happen." And I was real close with the New York shot caller in Raybrook, dude named Lex, Big Lex from Brooklyn, and we were super close, like my right hand man. Like that definitely ain't happening. And really, man, he hit me, I hit him, and that's the only time ever in my life, man, where we're in FCI now, right? And I just told you I never slipped up again, but really that was a slip up. But it was more like he was a little kid, you know what I mean? He hit me, I hit him. And I was like, and for real, I went in the laundry room and I said, yo, I'm fighting this dude, man. And when I'm done, I'll fight your biggest homeboy too. But we're definitely fighting.
Right.
And they were like, oh man, the New York dudes were like, nah, man, he hit you one time, I hit him 3 times. And I hit him, he fell down. Right. And they were like, yo, this shit's over with, man. Just let it go. You drop the kid, man, let it go before this escalates. A bunch of good men get jammed up. And I'm a little older at the time, starting to be a little wiser. But I'm like, it's that pride thing where I'm like, man, I really want to fuck this dude up. He swung on me, man. You know what I mean? Because I told him they used to work out in front of my cell, and I'm like, yo, homie, you're being disrespectful right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like a little fucking kid to me, man. Like, get the fuck out in front of my cell. Like, you're doing jump roping and shit. I'm trying to relax right here. I'm doing legal work. Whatever I'm doing, this is my house right here. And it never was like that, bro, back in the day. This is just new shit. That dudes are just plain out disrespectful. Like, you want to jump rope, man? Go out to the yard, go to the gym. But you're literally in front of my door, and I hear this rope going tick, 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 hitting my door. Like, go do that shit in front of your cell. You know what I'm saying? It creates problems, man. Dudes are disrespectful. And we ended up, man, squashing it. But if I didn't feel like I did a little better than him, then yeah, I would have just did whatever and went to the hole, and I'd have got transferred. But the New York dudes, really, man, the New York dudes came to my rescue, man. You get a lot of dudes on these YouTube channels talking that tough guy shit. If it was just me and the white dudes, man, we'd have probably got crushed. For real. We'd have got crushed. But the New York dudes came to my aid, man. And, I'm also appreciative of that. You know what I'm saying?
Last question, man. What you doing 17 years on a 40-year sentence, what made you start going? Did you go to the law library as soon as you got to federal prison? Or did you do your time and you say, you know what? Let me go to the law library. Did you go there your first day in prison? Did you go to the law library?
Let me tell you something. I went to the law library as soon as I got to the county jail, and they told me I was facing 40 years. I felt like no one was going to fight for my life like I would. Okay. So that shit started long before federal prison. When I got to federal prison, yeah, probably within the first week, I was in that law library every day, man. And definitely, worked hard, man, learned the law, ended up helping. Like I said, man, I helped over 100 people get out of prison. And I'm not just capping or freestyling. That's the truth. I own a paralegal and prison consultant firm. I help people all the time, brother. I help people that, don't have no money. I got a girl, you're down there in Florida. I had a girl down from Florida tell me, look, I'm a single mother on partial welfare and I work at McDonald's and my husband's got 45 years for the same shit you got, same shit you're in prison for. I did this shit for free, man. I had to help her, man. Young black girl with a son.
That's a fact.
Don't have no daddy.
I see you giving away a bunch of money on a live. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
I help people. And then I did an interview, like a phone interview with the kid with no eyes, blew his eyes out. Used to be my cellie. He don't have no money. He only had $10 for commissary. I wrote his shit 3 weeks ago. The kid Aaron Pike, I wrote his shit. I do a lot of shit for free too, man. For people that really need help, that got a legitimate issue, I help people, man. That's what I do because I know what it's like, bro. To be in there wishing that someone would help you and you ain't got no money. They're talking about $30,000, $40,000. There's a kid today. I told him, man, for what he wants me to do is a lot of work. I told him, man, I would charge him $2,500 to do this case. He wrote me tonight and said, look, man, I can only come up with $400. That's going to pay for the material, not my time. But I told him, call me tomorrow.
Right.
Do it. I'm not going to leave you in jail over, a couple dollars, man, over $2,100 difference. I'm going to help you, bro, because you have a legit issue. We're going to go to the Supreme Court, and who knows, man, I might win that shit in the Supreme Court. It's a really good issue. But he was calling me with some bullshit. I wouldn't do it. But I'm going to help this dude, man. He needs help.
That's right. And isn't that what gets people through when you're in prison? Doesn't everybody in prison, let me know if I'm wrong, like, doesn't everybody have a piece of hope? Everybody in prison, right or wrong, whether they got a life sentence, don't they still feel like they get out someday? They think maybe a law change, maybe something to come up. Is that how you felt your whole sentence? Did you know you knew you wasn't going to do 40 years? That's what I want to know.
Man, in my heart, there were times where the majority of the time, I used to tell people, man, I'm getting out. And they'd be like, dudes would be like, yeah, all right. I used to tell people, man, if I don't believe it, no one else will. But there were times where I felt like, man, I'm fucked, man. I used to get people out of jail, right? And it felt good. And people would be like, damn, bro, you want another case? I heard you got so-and-so. I'm like, yeah, man, by the grace of God, man, brother went home. And then it started to affect me, bro. I started winning all these cases and couldn't win my own. I seen dudes going home, and I'm like, damn, man, I want to go home. And there was a time when I got denied by Obama where I felt like this is it, man. And the crazy thing is, and this is a reflection, I had a cellie, right? I was real close with this kid named Brad. He had a 20-year sentence. He came in years after me. And I'm like, damn, we're going to be cellies. And he gets out in 2032. By the time he gets out, I'll be all right because he'll be my best friend all these years. And then I'll only have 5 years left when he gets out. I was thinking
Damn.
I wasn't getting out till 2037, right? And
Damn.
yeah, man, there were times, man, Christmas time, man, used to kill me, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Christmas used to destroy me, man. Used to break my heart in prison, man. That's the reality, man. And I want dudes like, people are watching your show, right? And I do this with my channel, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. I don't want them to have to go through that, man. I don't care what color you are. I don't care. I'm from the hood, bro. I got a crack case on me. I don't care what color you are. I don't care about none of that shit, man. I care about you doing the right thing because you're out here getting money doing you. And man, you can end up dead. You can end up in prison for the next 30 Christmases. And that shit happens, bro. It happens. I mean, here's an example. I'm going to drop a video tomorrow about Fetty Wap.